Hi, Bo here from High Tech Investment, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to actually have a closer look at an EA that has not yet been launched. It is still in a testing phase, but we have gotten our hands on this particular one, and we are very excited to show you exactly what this one can do. Now, we have mentioned something like this in the past on our news report. We actually told you that Expert Forex and Alex, through the premium forum, has actually a new EA ready. And they're also letting us try this one out for 4 or 5 weeks before the end of the test, where hopefully it will be launched. There might be some changes to this particular EA depending on what we find in here, but so far it's looking pretty good. And obviously the whole idea here today is to try and show you a bit about some of the results that we have, because we have the first backtesting results, and we're going to go through exactly how they are, what it is we are testing, what we are not touching, because there's obviously a lot of different things to this EA, even though it's a lot more simple than the previous EAs that we have seen, such as the RSI Liberator version or the Wave Liberator, and also the Edge EA. Now, this particular EA is working on similar principles, except it doesn't have an entry. It is more luck of the draw, as you can see here. So it is a bit of a gamble, but it seems like the gamble is actually paying off. It is still having the grid system in here that we are used to all the way back from the profit retriever a couple of years ago. And it's also that retrieval process that has continued and being developed. And some might say, well, this is a martingale strategy. Well, the martingale strategy was actually created around the roulette table many years ago. But this particular one here is so sophisticated now that has absolutely nothing to do with this anymore, because there are so many settings that can be adjusted in order to also minimize the risk compared to what you have on a normal martingale strategy. So we're going to go through all of this through today, and we're also going to show you some real life results. We already have a portfolio with different currency pairs, and we're also going to show you the settings. So make sure you get yourself a beverage and then let's go, because this is the email that set everything off. This was through the Expert Forex Premium Forum. Alex sent us an email saying he has the new EA ready. He sent us the links and says also now he would like us to test it. He gives us a bit of feedback on exactly what he has observed so far, and the rest is simply up to the testers and up to the Premium Forum to try and see which ones are working the best, and try not to do the same results all of us, but there is so many different nuances in this particular EA in here that we have gone in a different way. We are running very short time zones here, but let's see what the other testers are doing. We'll have to see, because this is still very early in the test phase. Now, as I mentioned to you here, Alex gave us some opportunities already, and basically showing what he has been testing and what he will be testing over the next 4 or 5 weeks here. And you have about 20 signals set up at the moment. You can see the currency pairs that he is testing. So this is his Excel that he sent out to the forum members. So it shows you the currency pairs. The time frames that he's using is 15 minutes and 1 hour, as we can see here. Most of them is 15 minutes. We are actually doing 5 minutes ones just to do something a bit more spectacular and different. Price gaps in here is also 15 or 20. So it means that actually very small price gaps compared to what we have on some of the other EAs. And you will also see our results here point in the same direction. We have gap scaling starts also between 1 and 3 in here. Scaling rates, this particular EA seems to be liking both where you go down in scaling rate, but also going up. We have some similar results actually also here. And then you can see minimum gap size is not something we're going to touch. Initial lots, we're not going to touch that either, because this is part of the testing phase. So we want to see what we can get out of it with 0.1 lot. Then you have the top up multiplier rate, which again here is a positive one all the way through, both the top and negative. We have a big one here, 1.9 actually in here for the Great British Pounds Japanese, so quite aggressive. And then we have further ones, take profit, and this is in pips, 15 and 20, as you can see here. And then you have, this is just the hidden part, so this is not really anything for the testing at the moment. Buy and sell, so again, this is what the EA can do. It can do either buy or sell, or it can do both, and we are also testing all options in here. Closing targets has also been set, and that has been set in dollars for this particular one here. We are still using the pips LUC. Start pruning again, so this will be the first type of the pruning in here. So go somewhere between 3 and 5 what he has. Pruning approach, you have 2 options, balance and first and last, and we'll talk about that later on. So these are the switching points. So it starts off with the balance for this particular one, then switches to first and last after number 7 trade, and you can see that varies also somewhere between again starts off around 3 and then finishes around 9, and we also have some similar results that we're going to share with you here today. So if we go and have a look and see, okay, how did we start all this? We go to the EA, we set it up, and normally we set it up with a $10,000 account testing, and we positions long and short, of course, and then the generic algorithm, which actually testing a lot of different things at the same time. It's supposed to take some of the best settings here. It is not something we normally use to start off with testing, but we have decided, because of the random nature of this particular EA in here, we're going to use that to get some quick results out of this one very quickly, set up the EA, and then work our way from there. We have now gone away from that particular part because we are now in the second phase of our testing, but this is a good way of getting starting and testing a lot of different settings at the same time. So when you are testing, also make sure here again that the tick data settings, we actually using tick data, so don't use the broker data that is there. That's simply not reliable enough. You need data that is 99.9% accurate, so you can use it in here. And even when you are using that, you will see some variations in the EA results so you are getting running the backtesting. This has most probably something to do with the random nature of this particular EA, because this is not something we have seen on the Liberator versions here before. Now we are testing the 5-minute one. We did some back testing and found that one interesting. It is something different than what Alex is doing. So we decided to go down that path at the moment, see how far we get and how well we can make that work. Because it's so random, we might as well go full out. We also put a spread limit in. So this is a spread that is built into the entire test all the way through. And then we do the optimization. Optimization here is obviously for the lucky trader. In this particular case, one of them was the Euro USD. We're using the every tick, as we said. And then also we have from the 1st of January 2024. And then we ended it basically end of June, but now we have updated it. So all the data that you see in here is actually until 22nd of June. So that's the data and that's the time frame that we have used in order to test all this so far. Now the entire EA looks pretty much like this. One of the things that you have in here is when you are doing the optimization, you have obviously the value, which you will normally only see when you have added this one to a chart. So this is the one the robot is actually working on. And then you have the start phase here. So what you want to test. In this particular case, we have the price gap up here, starting off at 10 in steps of 5, and then it stops testing at 50. Now, as I mentioned, the generic test that we did, we have set all these numbers up exactly as you see them in here. And then we test them all together. Obviously, if you do that, it will take a very long time. So that's why we use the generic part. So we are using the price gaps, gap scaling rates, and the top up multiplier rate in here also, all the ones that are ticked, initial take profits, allow buy and sell. So again, we are trying both of them. And then also the start pruning that we have down here. When we're going to start the pruning, is it going to be the balanced one or is it the first and last that's going to run? And then it switches to the second part. Again, when does it switch? And then is it another balance or is it actually first and last? So you'll see that there will be some different ways that different currencies react to these particular settings in here. And after the initial test that we set up, similar to this, then we went in and then have a closer look and testing in a different manner. Now, this manner is we are using 3 different currency pairs and we are testing everything at the same time. So we jump off the generic part, we unclick that one, and then go through and testing price gaps, gap scaling, and the scaling rate in here. And again, you can see the numbers, even the scaling start level. We are starting at 0 with the steps of 2 and then goes up to 10. Same here, gap scaling rate. We start off with 80. So that means actually a decrease, and then all the way up to 120, which is then the increase. And again, we can see later on, you'll see that some of them are actually hitting these targets. So that means we might have to expand our test further on this when we go through the second or third test phase. The next part of the phase is then we're using the top lot multiplier rate in here. Again, we're starting off with 0.8 and then with the steps of 0.05 up to 1.2. We're testing also the take profit. And again, we're starting off from 10 with the step of 5 all the way up to 50 here at the moment. And then allow the buy and sell. And obviously we are testing both one direction and both directions in here. Now the last part we're testing on this particular EA is then the entire pruning function that we have in here. And we have 2 options. So it starts off with 1 and then switches to a second one. And what we are doing here is start pruning. We are starting off at 2 with the step of 2 and then all the way up to 10. So this is how many trades that has been put down in order for the pruning to be activated. And the options you have again is the balanced or first and last pruning method. In this particular case, the balanced one was the best one. And then it can switch for the second one if you want to engage that one. We are obviously testing everything crisscross all the way through. And again, it says here that from 2 and with the step of 2 up to 10, we are testing the same part and comes out at this particular time at 10. And it continues with the balanced amount pruning, but it could be both. You can obviously set it as you want at the end of the day. Now, all these numbers and testing in here has also led us to some of the first results. Again, this is the backtest results that we are currently working on. And obviously later on in the program, we'll show you the live results. And we also want to try and tell you not only the results, but also the settings that we have used that have found to be the best ones so far with our testing. So what you see on your screen here is actually the first 8 currency selection points that we have chosen, which ones are testing. And this is the currency pairs that we have chosen in here. So obviously row 1, different Aussie Swiss francs, Aussie USD, Euro Swiss francs, Euro Great British Pounds, and Euro USD, Great British Pounds USD, New Zealand USD, and US CAD. And then obviously we'll add more to it as time permits. Again, we are testing from 1st of January 2024 until 22nd of June. So obviously there is only about 6-7 months of data in here. So if you want to have a look at it for the entire year for the results, then you obviously have to double it. Price gaps in here for this particular EA, it seems to be liking the small gap size. A lot of them is 10. We have Euro USD up at 45 and then Great British Pounds USD at 25 at the moment. But overall, it looks like smaller is better. Just make sure that you don't make it too small, because if you go much below 10, depending on the currency pairs, your spread might be in the way. So even though you might win the trades, then due to the spreads, you will actually have a loss every single time. That definitely could happen if you go as low as 4, 5, or 6. So just be aware of that. Then we have the gap scaling rate. We have a few EAs here that doesn't want to have anything to do with the gap scaling rate. Other ones come in at 2, 6, and 8. So it will be interesting to see, but this is also quite normal from what we have seen from previous EA's test. Gap scaling rate, we can actually see in here gap scaling rate. This is where you are narrowing down the gaps, and that seems to be one of the issues that Alex has raised, that this actually likes it to be narrowed down. Our test is showing a bit of a mixed results, as you can see at the moment. We have the lowest one at 85 and the highest ones at 120. So it's pretty much takes out both top and bottom of our testing in here. So we might have to expand this particular gap in order to get the right numbers. Lot trading entry, so this is 0.1. We're not touching this one because this is a test. We want to see exactly how much we get out of each lot, so we're not changing that. We're also using the lot multiplier in percentage, so we are not using the other one down here. That is why it is 0. And again, here it is quite clear that it wants a bigger one, so 1.15, 1.2. There's only one in here that is actually going down in lot size, the Euro Swiss francs. The rest is actually going up. Normally, we don't like to go past 1.2 because then again it escalates quite quickly. But again, it seems like it's hitting the ceiling in here. That means also we might have to operate with a bigger range to do all the testing. Initial take profit, so this is the first part. So when you are getting that particular one in, when you get the trade and it hits the target here, then that seems to be also a bit of a mix in here. In the beginning we saw a lot of them very low, so somewhere around the $10-15 mark, but we can also see a few that's actually liking the bigger mark at the end of the day, and not necessarily ones that have the bigger grid size. So again, early days. Allow buy and sell. It seems to be quite obvious that both buy and sell seems to provide the best results for this EA so far. We have been testing, as you saw, our setup, both options as single or both. Target closure, we don't have it in dollars at the moment. We are using the target closure pip. I can see Alex is using the dollar one. So again, we are trying to do something different in order just to see how our results comes out. It all seems to be 7 is the most stable one all the way through. So we will do more testing on that later on. It's not something we have done on the initial part. And then we're going to come to the new section here. So this is the start pruning phase. And this is after how many grids. So basically your trade has gone against you. And then you can see again here, we are starting off with 2 up to 10. And most of the ones are starting with 4, 6, 8. And we have one that doesn't actually have one at all here at the moment. So again, it might change, should change very, very soon. Then we have US CAT, also 8. And in here, there seems to be a bit of a mix in between first and last. You can see there's 4 here, and then the last 4 is actually on the balance side. And then the second switch pruning we have here, they are, again, those 4 seems to be liking after 10. And then part here, we have again 8 or 10, so quite high. And this particular one is still 0. So we'll have to run some tests again and see why that is. And then we're ending up with a bit of a mix here with the balanced and first and last. So again, some have first and last actually starting off as the first one and then go to balance. You have other ones that goes balance, balance. And then you have ones that you would normally think you will start off with the balance one and then you would mix over to first and last, similar to what you have here on the Aussie USD. Now you can also see the numbers down here. So this is the profit over the same period of time I mentioned to you before. Some of them look quite good. You have the highest one with the US CAT of more than 11,000 in just 6, almost 7 months in here. It does have a higher drawdown also at the moment. So this is the drawdown section that we have in here. And if you have a look, for example, at the Euro Swiss francs, obviously less profits, but also a lot lower drawdown. That can be adjusted simply by changing the lot sizing. But at the end of the day, we are looking at the percentage. So this is the drawdown percentage that you have in here. And then that particular number that we also have is in between the drawdown versus the profits, and the lower percentage you have on that particular one, the better it is. And the one that looks to be the lowest, 20% here at the moment, seems to be Aussie USD. It's got a profit of 9,900, and then it bottoms out here with the 2,000 in drawdown, which is quite reasonable for a $10,000 account. Now, I did promise you also here that we're going to have a look at the live testing. So this is now on demo test, and this is all 8 currency pairs in one portfolio. You can see up here the balance is $81,055, and again started off with 8 $10 accounts in here. So obviously it has made a bit of money. Also, the equity is actually in plus at the moment, so 80,461 means that the floating profit and loss is currently sitting out about minus 593, and then close profits, obviously that part is more than $1,000, plenty of free margin that we have in here. If we have also a look at the total returns, then it's 0.7% at the moment. Monthly returns, and this is after 8 days, 6.3%, so it might be a bit low, but then again, remember I told you we haven't really adjusted the lot sizing for optimizing all of this. It is more importantly that things are actually profitable, and then we can adjust how well afterwards. Weekly returns 1.5, and trade wins is quite high, 76.9% for something that's supposed to be random at the moment. Obviously this is very early days, so it might change over time. It's taken 918 pips trades per day, so it's quite active, 23. And then we can see the currency pairs that we have in here, all 8 is represented. And then this is basically the line that we have so far. If we have a quick look also at the profit and loss, you can see as we set them in motion, things have actually gone a bit higher. And obviously that is part of the nature for when you are setting these up. They always have a bit of a drag of drawdown following it as it's being set up until it stabilizes. But it's still in positive for now, which is absolutely great. Let's go and have a look just at some of the stats in here. Again, the stats we have, the weekly returns, monthly returns, we can see the same ones, and the history. Floating profit is here. And then let's go and have a look at the days. We have 5 winning days. We are now in the 2nd week of the testing, so both of them seems to be winning. And obviously we haven't done a full month yet, but so far FX Blue has put that one down as this is going to be a winning month. Closing trades 113 so far, and so these are the winners, and then the losers is 34. So all trades is actually 147. So looking good, starting well. And if we have a look at the individual days, so the net profits you'll see here. So we have 100, 200, 300, 200, and right now this is only half day trading, 139. So it seems to be ticking over quite nicely at the moment. And we have the 2 weeks in here that both looks quite profitable. Now that we have everything up and running, you can see 700 for this particular week. And we are only halfway through. So looking good. The entire month is obviously set for 1,055 so far. So it is looking good. And if we have a look at the open and close trades here at the moment, so closed positions and open positions here. So we have about 30 something that is running. Overall, the charts looks like this, similar to what you saw before. So it looks like we are off to a very good start with this particular EA so far. So this was all our trading data that we have so far. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could see what it is we are trying to do here. Hopefully this will also give you some good inspiration as what you can do, what you want to try and actually work on in here. So we are just trying to basically put all the data together here, both for ourselves and obviously for you, share it out together with our fellow traders in the Expert Forex Premium Forum. So if you're not a member yet, then I definitely suggest you go and have a closer look, see some of all the benefits that are in there with Expert Forex, because it's far from only new EAs that are in there. There's a lot of other tutorial parts, training in here that will make you a better trader at the end of the day. So I hope that I've given you a bit of information on what exactly this Lucky Trader will do, especially from the bit of a strange way of not having a normal entry part. It is doing extremely well. And obviously we're going to continue to run all these and test them, and we're going to do our live demo accounts. We're also going to set up our homepage for this particular one, similar to what we normally do with the rest of the EAs. So everything will be available to you, and you can go and have a look and see if this is something you also want to test. Maybe it's even something you want to buy once this is coming out full time. So please have a look at it, give us a thumbs up and a like, and if there's anything you want us to test on this particular one here that we haven't done yet, then please let us know, and then hopefully we'll do another video when all the results are ready. So until then, and my next video, see you around. Bye bye.